How Terence Crawford will beat Errol Spence Jr. if he is able to do it has been revealed by a good friend of mine, boxing expert, will not say the name, but intriguing conversation which reveals the game plan that Terence Crawford will have to employ to beat Errol Spence Jr. and the special talent that he has that will enable him to do so. Before I get into that though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you very much. But before we get into that, I just want to tell you real fast about today's sponsor, the Boxing Showtime app. It's a very useful app that keeps you updated on all things boxing, and you can keep up with the latest fights, where to watch them, the latest news, and a lot more. For any hardcore boxing fan like myself, and most likely all of y'all, I would definitely recommend downloading it. And it also is most definitely a big support to the channel. It's available for both Apple and Android, and you can find the link in the description below. Thanks for considering downloading Boxing Showtime's app. But let's get back into the subject matter of the video. Bud Crawford has a special skill set that will cause Errol Spence Jr. unexpected difficulty, and throw him off his square in the fight that is coming up on July 29th. That, according to an expert, a person that I consider to be an expert in the sport of boxing, definitely wants to remain anonymous, so he will. However, gotta share the thought because I do this on a regular basis with it. And here it is. We know we've got the big fight coming up between the two. Errol Spence Jr. is what I would consider to be a boxer puncher, a boxer brawler, somebody that can box on the outside but prefers to brawl. Southpaw, someone with a very, very heavy body attack, somebody that is excellent at cutting off the ring and keeping themselves right in front of you. Fighting in the southpaw stance gives him, against most people, the southpaw advantage, and his consistency and his jab, the fact that he comes in behind a jab and consistently throws shots and puts pressure on people, is very, very difficult to outscore him if you cannot hurt him. Now, it is the ability that Terence Crawford has that will be able to nullify that. And it is making the fight ugly. According to my guy, what Terence Crawford will be able to do to Errol Spence Jr. that counteracts a lot of the other things that are actually goes in contradiction to the way that many people think he's going to fight, is that he is going to grab Errol Spence Jr. and immediately tie him up whenever something resembling a fight breaks out. And that Terence Crawford is much more physically strong than people give him credit for, that he is in fact one of the strongest welterweights, physically strongest welterweights that there is in the sport, and that his wrestling and grappling background will allow him to tie up Errol Spence Jr. and prevent Errol Spence Jr. from unleashing the body shots and the shots at mid-range that allow him to score and run up points on them. And that because he will be able to do that upon the breaks, Terence Crawford will be able to hit Errol Spence Jr. with his vaunted right hook from the southpaw position. And that right there gives him an opportunity to bully and knock out Errol Spence Jr. Similar to the way that Evander Holyfield was able to muscle and beat up Mike Tyson in the fight that they had, where people thought that Mike Tyson, because of his hand speed and his power, was going to overwhelm Evander Holyfield, but the older, stronger, more veteran Evander Holyfield was able to tie him up, was able to headbutt him on the inside, was able to rough up and do things to Mike Tyson that nobody had been able to do to Mike Tyson, and nobody expected Evander Holyfield to be able to do to Mike Tyson. So it will be the strength and the wrestling and the veteranship of Terence Crawford that will be able to cause the biggest problem to Errol Spence and make the fight look significantly different than people anticipate the fight to look. That, according to my guy, is how he sees Terence Crawford being able to beat Errol Spence Jr., and said that also takes into account the notion that Terence Crawford is an older fighter now, and that he is not going to be moving all over the ring and shifting side to side and doing all of that, that he will do that in spurts and he will do that at times. But when over the course of the fight that he is going to sit down, he is going to use physicality on Errol Spence Jr. and fight a type of fight that people do not or have not seen him fight before. And one of the reasons that you could see this is how he handled Sean Porter in the corner when Sean Porter got Terence Crawford into the corner, and Terence Crawford did not want to fight with Sean Porter. He was able to tie up Sean Porter, turn and move Sean Porter, and push him off. That is the path that my guy expects the fight to take for Terence Crawford. And I have to say, is a very unique view of the fight, and probably the way that Terence Crawford, other than getting a flash knockout, from which I don't see taking place, right, which is basically to beat Errol Spence Jr. at his own game, but doing it with not necessarily clean shots on the inside and exchanging shots with them on the inside, but by slowing it all down and roughing him up at the same time. You could see it like what Devin Haney tried to do to Vasily Lomachenko when Vasily Lomachenko was coming in, by throwing body shots at mid-range. And whenever he could possibly get close enough, if he's able to get inside the jab, then you tie him up, rough him up, push that forearm on his head, just like Devin Haney pushed that forearm on Vasily Lomachenko's head, and just basically roughed him up. Now, do I personally see that happening? I think that is a very, very, very risky tactic to take against Errol Spence Jr., but that probably is the one that gives him the best chance of doing that. It's not too much different than the way that Mike Tyson Fury went in there against Deontay Wilder, where he said that he was going to come at Deontay Wilder and he was going to press Deontay Wilder. Nobody believed him, but he used his size, he used his weight to do that in the second fight and in the third fight. However, he sure did take some really big shots in the third fight, where he very well may not have wound up being awake if he had landed many more than them. Of course, the problem here is that Errol Spence Jr. actually likes that type of work, and it may be very difficult to hold him because you're assuming that Errol Spence Jr. is not that strong. But I just wanted to share with that is a strategy that could come from Terence Crawford unexpected and catch Errol Spence Jr. by surprise, because Terence Crawford typically does not fight like that. Errol Spence Jr. is going to be banking on Terence Crawford, exchanging with him when he gets hit and kind of giving into that nature, where if he just smothers him and is able to smother him and stop that type of action, and then catch him on the way in or catch him on the way out and wear him down, and then press Errol in the later rounds, similar to what Roy Jones Jr. said he needed to do, you may see a different fight, man, and a different fight that people didn't expect. But that's not my take on it. But I do think that it is a very, very interesting way to look at the fight in a different fashion than people had been looking at it before. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.